What's up, guys? Thomas Mott here. Welcome to the Thomas Mott Show. Very exciting interview right now. Cole from How About Those Chiefs, probably the biggest Chiefs channel on YouTube. Massive Chiefs fan, and I thought, what better than to come on here and talk to Cole and get you ready for Super Bowl 57. He's got his Chiefs gear on. I got my Eagles gear on, so we're enemies, but I think we're going to find some common ground here breaking down this game. Cole, I appreciate you coming on. How about those Chiefs so far, huh?
Yeah, man, it's been insane. I mean, first, thanks for having me on. I reached out to you. Honestly, I am a fan of your work, your content. I can see you're grinding. I see the titles. I see the thumbnails. I see you going after it, and much respect, man, because I've only had this channel for a year. And yeah, I mean, you're not that far behind me in the sense of just your growth. And I think you're going to pop, man. So first of all, just thanks for having me on. I appreciate that. Second, dude, I like the Eagles. I mean, I'm a big Travis Kelce fan, big Jason Kelce fan.
Right.
I've Nick Foles. I like Nick Foles. He helped you guys get the ring. I mean, I was rooting for y'all then. I have no ill will, animosity towards the Eagles at all. Like the Bengals game, that was pretty emotional. I don't like the Raiders. There's certain teams there that I'm not the biggest fan, but dude, nothing but respect for the Eagles. I do truly think the two best teams made it to the big game, and I'm excited for hopefully the banger that we're about to see on Sunday. That's the hope.
I totally agree, and I was about to say this as well. I have nothing but respect for the Chiefs. Obviously, Andy Reid, I think he left Philadelphia still being our favorite coach of all time. I mean, we love Doug Peterson because he delivered a Super Bowl, but what Big Red did for us when he was in Philly is bar none. And I think the Chiefs do it really the right way. I think overall, when you look at franchises in the National Football League, Philadelphia's built a very good franchise, but the Chiefs so far have turned into the Patriots. I mean, truly, we're looking at a Patriot-level dynasty that is growing right now in Kansas City. And sure, most of it is Patrick Mahomes. You get a generational, maybe greatest quarterback of all time type talent, and your team's going to be fantastic. But the way that they've built what they've been able to do in Kansas City really should be modeled by every single football team in the National Football League. I think Philly has done a little bit of that as well. I will say this, though. Is it getting a little bit not numb to the fact the Chiefs have been this good, but you guys have been to 1 billion AFC title games. You've been to 8 different Super Bowls in the past 3 years. You're winning every single game. Does it get a little bit numbing to go, okay, another Super Bowl? Obviously, you want to win. You're a massive Chiefs fan, right? When I'm an Eagles fan, we've won one. But does it get a little bit numbing to be like, man, the Chiefs they're just great again. Let's just keep on riding.
Dude, I don't even know, because I've been a Chiefs fan my whole life, and I've watched them lose. I'm 31, and I've watched them lose for a long time. I'm kind of I'm riding the wave that I think, every year I'm like, who knows what's going to happen next year, but it keeps going upwards. I'm not numb. I think I'm just living in a dream, like a 5-year dream. I'll be a bit more concerned when Travis Kelce hangs it up, Andy Reid retires. Then I'm going to be like, all right, what's it going to look like? Because you gave some good props to Mahomes, and I mean, hey, I'm all about Mahomes, but it's also the greatest tight end in the game, Travis Kelce, or one of the greatest in the game, Eagles. I mean, I don't know what other teams think about the Chiefs sometimes, but then Chris Jones, one of the best defensive tackles in the game, and then obviously Andy Reid, man, probably, if not the greatest coach in history, he's top 3. I mean, it's got to be. So the Chiefs, yeah, I've been watching them do this, and I keep thinking it's going to plateau.
Right.
Especially the offseason. Tyreek Hill gone. Chiefs went young in the draft. I'm over here well, I think the Chiefs will still make the playoffs. I predicted it 12-5, maybe 13-4. I did not have Mahomes winning league MVP. Yeah, they just keep surprising me, and it's been awesome, man. It's been a truly wild ride. Yeah.
You mentioned Patrick Mahomes there. I want to get into the MVP stuff in a second, but injuries overall, the Chiefs going into the past couple of weeks been pretty banged up. The ankle, obviously, for Travis Kelce. KaDarius Toney's been banged up. A lot of the receivers on the outside. On a worry factor, how worried are you as a Chiefs fan who covers Kansas City a lot more in depth than I have the past week, just kind of looking in at these injuries? Do you think that they're a big deal? Are they going to matter at all? Or is this something that Eagle fans are secretly hoping is true? Hopefully Mahomes was only 70%, but in reality, it's not going to be a big factor.
Yeah, I'll definitely answer this, and then I'd be curious to know your thoughts on your O-line. And I know they're a bit banged up. Not as banged up as the Bengals O-line was. They were out 3 starters. So I'll be curious to know your thoughts on that. But yeah, as far as Chiefs injuries go, I mean, Mahomes and his ankle, he's not going to be 100%. I think he's going to be 85, 90. The main concern for me with Mahomes and his ankle is, can he stay protected enough from y'all's monster D-line to not re-aggravate this ankle? He looked pretty good in the AFC Championship game, did something to re-aggravate it in the second half, and then was definitely limp, like had a noticeable limp.
Right.
And he, the bye week helped, or the extra week off helped. But dude, you can still just my voice just cracked so bad. You could just re-aggravate that, like, on a play. So I'm not super concerned there. If the pocket holds, they're getting the ball out quickly. Probably more concerning than Mahomes' ankle is just, how are these wide receivers going to be? You know, they were down to practice squad guy last game in the AFC Championship. And, Mahomes can just freaking make it happen, which is fine. But, KaDarius Toney in the ankle, he said he's definitely playing. I am curious, though, how healthy he's going to be. He was limited yesterday. I'll be curious to just see how the reports continue to look. He'll play, but dude, for somebody who relies so much on his ability to juke people out of their souls, you need your ankle. So he juked his ankle out basically last game. So I'll be curious about that. JuJu Smith-Schuster with the knee, it was swelling. He was limping around in the AFC Championship game. He barely played. There was a report saying that he could not walk up the stairs without using the handrail and kind of, limping up it. He is practicing. He was a full participant yesterday. But yeah, I'm more concerned about just how are those two going to be? Because McCole Hardman got put on IR, so he's out. Right. CEH is back. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the running back. But dude, he's going to take a backseat role, in my opinion, still to Isaiah Pacheco and Jerick McKinnon. So without rambling on too long, I'm more concerned about the JuJu, KaDarius Toney, and then Mahomes, probably in that order. Like we need receiving options against a team as good as the Eagles, man.
It makes sense. It feels like if Kansas City's going to have a lot of success, it's going to be a ton of Travis Kelce across the middle, where Philadelphia is very vulnerable. And yet, at the same time, I say that, and you go, okay, well, the Eagles defensive coordinator, Jonathan Gannon, should be able to understand that. If I understand that, he should understand that. And then it's going to come down to these outside injured receivers for the Chiefs to go ahead and make plays against our corners, and hopefully not for our case, but for your case, make some big plays. I found it interesting. I don't know if you saw this. A lot of the 49ers are chirping right now about how, Brandon Ayuk said we would have had Philadelphia if we had a quarterback, and Deebo Samuel mentioned it, that the Eagle corners are not that great. How do you view the Eagles secondary as a whole? Because we can talk about the front four all day long. Reddick should have been a Defensive Player of the Year nominee. He wasn't. They have great D tackles. They're fantastic there. Linebackers, not as good as the front four, but still good enough to win a championship. Do you view the Eagles secondary as super scary? Do you view them as opportunistic and have played bad quarterbacks? Where are you at on Philly's, let's just say, corners and second and the safeties?
Well, I wanted Bradbury.
He's good.
So I think that was a great pickup for you guys. Yeah, I think they're good, probably above average. If you had to put the position groups side by side, Chiefs and Eagles, like secondary, you might be able to just give the edge there to the Eagles. So I think I do respect your secondary. I still think Mahomes and Kelce and others they find ways in the game plan to exploit the secondary and make things happen. That's why I think I largely am going to put my outlook on the D line for y'all and against our O line. Like, if Mahomes if it's even remotely reminiscent to the Super Bowl against the Bucs, which the Chiefs had no O line, then we have all our starters. So that's going to help. But dude, if Mahomes can't go through his reads, he's getting flustered. Like, he can't. And with his ankle, he's not able to extend the play like he normally can. Then I think we're more in trouble. But I don't disrespect your guys' secondary. I think you're a well-rounded team. I know there's reports going around of the Eagles, the Eagles have played this team, that team, and the only good teams that they played against put up hella points.
Right.
I don't know. I will say this. You guys probably haven't played an offense like the Chiefs, but True. We haven't played, just in my opinion, a team like the Eagles. Especially in your guys' run game. And so I'd love to hear your thoughts on your injuries, where you're at. Yeah. I know that you're interviewing me, but I'll use this on my channel too for some snippets. And then when you're talking about injuries, and if you have any like follow-up questions based on what I just said, feel free. But can you talk about Jalen Hurts and his shoulder? Like, I've been doing some digging, man. He hasn't been the same since coming back. I know some of that is just you're ahead in these games and don't have to force throws. The 49ers lost Brock Purdy like early. Yeah. And so I'd be curious just to hear your thoughts on where you guys are sitting with your injuries.
Yeah, the Hurts question is the $1 million question right now. And I did a breakdown of exactly what you just asked in terms of pre-injury for Hurts, post-injury for Hurts on my show yesterday. And the numbers say that he's obviously been worse, right? It's been completion percentage is down about 7%. He's hardly throwing to the right side of the football field. Most of the throws are going to the left side of the field. Deep ball completion percentage, which is what he was fantastic at this year. His most improved thing was deep ball accuracy, is also way down. He missed a deep shot to A.J. Brown against the Giants, missed a deep shot to A.J. Brown against the 49ers. So there's definitely been a regression, and surely it is because of the injury. My big question, though, is, like you said, how much of all of that is we're up 21-0 at halftime, or it might have been more of that in the Giants game. We're obviously crushing the 49ers because Brock Purdy is out. Let's just hold back on making him throw the football deep. That way we can protect the shoulder and get it a lot healthier than it is. How much of that is that? And how much of that is his shoulder is actually pretty messed up? Because I would be shocked if we get to a point right after the Super Bowl where Philadelphia doesn't tell us that he has some sort of more serious shoulder injury than what it actually is. They're probably hiding it. They're probably going to come out on Monday, win, lose, or draw, and they'll say, hey, listen, it's actually this. He needs surgery or he needs longer rehab. And then we'll all go, oh, of course, we knew it. But I also go back to this whole idea of pain tolerance and the National Football League and teams getting you ready for games. I don't see how it can really affect him that much in a game when he's had all this rehab and all the shots that are surely going into his arm. There's no way that he walks out onto the field in the NFC Championship game or on Sunday afternoon in Arizona and actually goes, oh man, this thing hurts right now. Adrenaline's going to be going crazy. He's going to be shot full of all sorts of medication that you probably can't even read off on a label because it's such a long name. I think he's going to be just fine. But it is going to be interesting if we get to a scenario where it's a repeat of Super Bowl 52, where Brady had like a Super Bowl record of 5 touchdowns and 500 plus yards, and it's a shootout where you have to keep up with him. If Philadelphia finds themselves down 14-7 or down 21-7 and they abandon the run game, can Hurts throw it 40 times for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns and win? That, to me, is the one scary scenario that a lot of Eagle fans don't want to mention. Because, and I'll finish by saying this, when you do mention that, they immediately go, well, Thomas, our run game is fantastic. We're going to get out to a big lead. Our defense is going to get after Mahomes. So Son Reddick's going to have 2 strip sacks and so on and so forth. And I agree. If we get out to a 21-7 lead, a 17-7 lead, a 14-7 lead, and we can just run the football 39 times and rush for 200 yards, and Jalen Hurts is 17 of 24 for 200, 2 touchdowns, 1 rushing, it's going to be over. But if Patrick Mahomes does what Patrick Mahomes always does, and it turns into a 35-31 shootout, that's where I think a lot of Eagle fans won't admit it, but all of us deep down go, let's hope the shoulder is able to hold on. And then as far as all the other injuries, I think Lane Johnson is fine. I think the fact he went up against Nick Bosa and again didn't allow a sack, he hadn't allowed one in like 2 years now in terms of overall playing time. I think he's going to be fine. It's insane, right? And then I think Landon Dickerson is the one offensive lineman, the left guard, who you have to worry about a little bit. He's also dealing with something they haven't fully told us about, whether it's ankle or foot. They'll tell us on Monday, most likely. And he has points in games all year long where he'll limp off the field. They'll throw in Andre Dillard, the backup left tackle who plays left guard whenever he fills in. And then Dickerson comes back. So that would be the offensive line injury there. Other than that, Nick Sirianni spoke about this in his press conference yesterday. They have all 22 starters healthy, besides the guys that went on IR, to begin the year, I'm blanking on his name right now, the pass rusher, who guys didn't even like anyway. Besides like him, they have all 22 starters, and they're all pretty much healthy, which is crazy, the fact that we're like 20 games into a season.
Yeah, that's a big thing, too, is as the season gets longer, just staying healthy. And the Chiefs have also done a pretty good job of that. Yeah. I mean, minus the AFC Championship game, then I'm like, oh, God, we're dropping like flies. But we made it happen, got the dub, and here we are. So I will say this, man. I've had 2 shoulder surgeries myself. Yeah. And if he's got a torn, like if Hurts has a torn labrum or something in there, it's not even necessarily a pain thing. It's more of like my shoulder is not able to do exactly what I want it to do, that's more of my question of seeing his deep balls off and stuff like that. Right. It might not even be a pain thing. It might just be like, yo, I want my shoulder to do this, and I can't do. I mean, it's doing it at 90% or 85% of what I want it to do. But dude, do I think that's gonna I don't know. You're right. They're going to come in. Mahomes said it too. My ankle may not be 100% is what he said, but I'll have it taped up. I'll have adrenaline helping me, and it should be good. I think it's going to be a great game regardless of these injuries.
I can see Philly on the first drive doing exactly what they did against the 49ers. They hit that deep ball against the Giants. They hit that deep ball to Devontae Smith on like the second play of the game, almost to kind of say, hey.
Incomplete pass?
No. That
was the 49ers game?
No. It was either the 49ers or the Giants game. It was Devontae Smith on a deep over. I want to say it was the Giants, but I don't remember. But it was a very clear indication of, hey, his shoulder's fine. We want to scare you immediately. And then they basically didn't throw deep again. I could see that against the Chiefs if the shoulder, like you said, is not at 100%. Let's just force a deep ball early. If we complete it, we can at least make the Chiefs secondary go, okay, maybe he's fine. And then you just run the football, dink and dunk your way to a victory. So we will see on that. MVP award is tonight. It's a good thing that I'm having you on right now because it is going to be tonight.
Yeah,
it's going to be Patrick Mahomes. I mean, even as an Eagle fan, I know it's going to be Patrick Mahomes. I do think there is an argument for Jalen Hurts, although most national media people won't even fathom that. Chris Sims likes to rip Jalen Hurts up and down as if he's, some backup quarterback who happens to have success because of the actual Eagle system and the players around him, which to me is ridiculous. But it's going to be Mahomes. What percentage of you would think that it would be Jalen Hurts? Is this a 90% Mahomes, 95% Mahomes, 5% Jalen Hurts? If you were to give Hurts credit on the MVP, what percentage chance do you think he would have to actually win it tonight?
Yeah, I'm like in the 90s for Mahomes, and it's not because I think Hurts had a bad season. I think the injury didn't help him.
I agree.
It's unfortunate because he was well on his way to it being a close race.
Right.
But when you're injured and you miss those games, it's kind of a stats MVP or a stats award rather.
Right.
And I think Mahomes is going to lock it up, but it's no shade to Jalen Hurts. And then also to circle back real quick, when I mentioned that incomplete pass, I was thinking it was the 49ers game where Devontae Smith, he did not catch that pass.
It was an incomplete pass.
The refs missed it, but the 49ers didn't throw a challenge flag either. So I'm like, hey, that's on y'all.
Right.
But that was early as well, I believe, in that game. Another deep shot. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, I think Mahomes has got it locked up. But yeah, that's no shade to Hurts. I think he's had a great season. And I mean, I like Hurts. Any successful team, you're going to build your team around if you believe in that QB, you're going to build it around their strengths. So
right.
The Chris Sims thing, I don't know. That's weird to me. I mean, you're going to cater to your QB's strengths.
Right.
And you're going to kind of build around that. They've done that with Mahomes. I mean, I don't see – it's weird to say, well, you could plug in another QB and they're going to do just fine. And it's like, well, maybe, but maybe not. I mean, it's going to – you don't know that. So, much respect to you guys, man, and Jalen and your guys' team.
Well, there is that whole what is it? The stat that no NFL MVP has ever won a Super Bowl, right? Is that still true?
Or, I don't know.
Or maybe it's like in the past 10 years or something like that. Recently,
it's either never or it's been a long, long time.
It's been a long time. Yeah. So maybe we just let Mahomes have it. It's okay. Go ahead, and then we'll just raise the Lombardi Trophy in the end. What scares you the most about Philadelphia as a team? I mean, because a lot of people will go pass rush, some people will go Jalen Hurts, some people will go running game. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith on the outside. If there's one area that scares you the most about Philadelphia, especially against the Chiefs, what do you think it would be?
I mean, it's probably like just the first thing in my head is probably your guys' O-line. I mean, because if the Chiefs' D-line's not able to get to y'all, I mean, it'll be curious to see what happens there. Like if Frank Clark doesn't show up, Chris Jones doesn't show up. I mean, they completely dominated the Bengals game in the AFC Championship, but they also had 3 starters missing. They had a heyday. So your guys' O-line though it's elite. Jason Kelce, dog. I mean, you guys got a lot of great players. So I'm actually concerned. Like if I know that's probably not a popular pick, but I am concerned a bit about the O-line and how good they are. If the D-line can't get pressure, like I'm also curious. I guess the second thing would just be y'all's run threat. Like Jalen Hurts, his ability to scramble. Like I know we played y'all last year. Chiefs won. I mean, it was like 42-23 in the fourth quarter. You all put up another TD, but it's not the same teams. I think you guys are better. Hurts has a lot more experience under his belt. So I am concerned about those two things, the O-line and the dual run threat. Like, there's been times this season where the Chiefs have given up. I mean, their run defense, like on paper, like you look at PFF, it's one of the strengths of their defense, and it is, but there's times where I'm like, God dang, they're giving up 7 yards a carry, 8 yards a carry, missing tackles. So those are a couple of my concerns. And then I guess, unless you have any follow-ups, I'd just flip the same question back to you. What are some of, the biggest concern for you against the Chiefs? I'm assuming it's just going to be the offense, or maybe Mahomes and his ability to just make things happen. But if you have a different answer, or if that is your answer, I'd just love to hear your thoughts there.
Yeah, I mean, the easy answer is Mahomes here, but I'll try and branch out a little bit. I think it's Travis Kelce. I think Kelce is unbelievable. And I know that a lot of Eagle fans have said in my comments when I said this on my show, oh, Thomas, we played Gronk and the Patriots in 52, and Gronk wasn't even a factor. And it's like, what was this, like 5 years ago? This is a completely different team. But when you watch teams have success against Philadelphia, it's over the middle of the field. Aaron Rodgers was probably the best at actually throwing against the Eagles the entire year, because yes, Jalen Hurts did lose to Washington, but Washington ran the football 49 times. We couldn't stop it. And then we got Linval Joseph and Ndamukong Suh and fixed that. So it's not an issue anymore. I can see Travis Kelce dinking and dunking right down the field, and Patrick Mahomes doing what Patrick Mahomes does best and improvise a little bit. It's those 10-yard plays where Kelce catches it, moves the chains, and then you go on a 5-minute drive, you get into the red zone, you find Travis Kelce again. I like to think, like I said earlier, that Jonathan Gannon, the Eagle defensive coordinator, has a plan for that, but I could also see him being a little weird, because he does weird things sometimes, and for whatever reason going, let's just try and get to Patrick Mahomes and not worry about Kelce, and then we get beat by Travis Kelce. That's my big concern. Honestly, and this is no disrespect, the Chief defense doesn't scare me that much. I think Chris Jones is fantastic, but besides Chris Jones and Frank Clark, I think Philadelphia's offensive line, like you said, is going to be just fine. I think it's really going to come down to, one, can you stop Travis Kelce? And two, can you get a big enough lead early? Can you go score on your opening drive? Can you back it up with maybe a second drive field goal and just allow your offense to calm down? That way we can run the football, keep away from Patrick Mahomes, and then let those pass rushers slowly start to eat and get a couple of strip sacks or just a couple of sacks in general to kind of flip this game on its head. I'll be honest, and we can wrap this up here pretty quick, because I know we've been going for a while. I'm confident, and I know you're confident. I feel like it's either going to be an Eagles blowout or a very close Chiefs win. I don't see a Chiefs blowout in this one. And by Eagles blowout, I mean like 10 points, because there's no way we're going to win by like 20. It's impossible. But I could either see us winning by 10, like a 30-20 sort of game, or it's going to be, 31-30 where the Chiefs win on a game-winning field goal because Mahomes is special and drives them down the field. I'm curious if you feel the same way, or if you feel elsewhere, or if you feel differently in terms of how the outcome could be.
Sure. Yeah, I appreciate your thoughts. And to kind of circle back on what you said, Chiefs defense, there's a couple key pieces that I'm glad are back. L'Jarius Sneed cleared concussion protocol. He was injured on the third play in the AFC Championship game, and Spags had to go vanilla a little bit in the secondary game plan, because Sneed is kind of the Swiss Army knife. He was probably even going to shadow Chase. I mean, there was some different stuff that they were going to do that they couldn't do. So I am glad Chase is back, and I'm also glad Willie Gay Jr., which is the Chiefs' most athletic linebacker, he injured his shoulder in the AFC Championship game, but he's a full participant so far, and he looks like he's good to go. I think that's going to be a key, like Sneed and Willie Gay Jr., I think are going to be a couple key pieces to watch in this game, because I don't know how they're going to spy Hurts, but I would think Willie Gay Jr. plays a role in that, and probably a safety at times. But those are a couple key pieces to watch for. If those guys aren't showing up, to help assist the D-line, then I'd be a little bit worried myself. As far as, and then actually to go back to another thing you said, Travis Kelce. That's why I think it's so crucial that JuJu Smith-Schuster goes into this game and he's able to finish it pretty healthy.
Right.
He's really an offset to Kelce in the middle of the field. He's almost had 1,000 yards on the season, and he's very effective. He's a very effective piece for Mahomes if Kelce gets shut down. But it's so funny. Like, you think every game, Travis Kelce's going to get shut down. I mean, he had over 100 yards last game. I mean, it's just like, happened. How do you guys let him get open? He had that touchdown on 4th and 1. Yep. And it's just, Mahomes and his connection is just insane to me. As far as score, I'm currently sitting Chiefs 30, Eagles 24, but there has a couple things have to go right for the Chiefs. I think they need to, it's kind of what you say the Eagles need to get up early so they can run the ball. And I agree. I think the Chiefs need to get up early to force the Eagles to try to throw the ball. So if the Chiefs can get up early, if they can somewhat contain the run game and just not over pursue the run on a play action and get torched, on a 60-yard play action pass, and Mahomes and the O-line can hold up enough. I mean, dude, we've faced some, in my opinion, some really tough teams this year. I personally was more stressed out about the AFC Championship game. I don't know if it's just because the Bengals have beat the Chiefs 3 times in a year,
right,
and it was all by 3. Like, I don't know. You say you feel confident. I feel more confident about this game than the AFC Championship game.
I love it.
Although, there's a lot of people picking the Eagles. Like, I feel like I'm seeing more people pick the Eagles than the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And, that doesn't offend me. That's fine. I think it's going to be a good game. I am obviously biased in my views as a Chiefs fan, but I'm going Chiefs 30, Eagles 24, and it could actually be, in my eyes, like a little bit lower scoring for both teams.
Okay.
It could be 24-27, 21-24 if the Eagles are effective in the run, able to drain clock. That's less drives. And then the Chiefs have been pretty good about slow, methodical, calculated drives up the field. And a key that I haven't talked about, I think if the Chiefs get a run game established, I know that's not the strong suit for your defense. That's no shade because your defense is really good pretty much everywhere.
Course.
But if there was a weak spot, you said center of the field, there's that. But then if the Chiefs can actually establish a run game, they put up like 200 yards against y'all, I think, or close. Over 100. It was 200 against you guys last year. And that's a big key for me. If the Chiefs can do that, that's why I think it could be a lower scoring game. Both teams, long drives.
I totally agree. And I think it's going to be a great game either way. I'm pumped that it is the Chiefs, and I think that in the end, it's going to show you who the best football team is. And as long as it's close and fun, I think we're both going to have a good time. So, listen, I appreciate you jumping on the show. I've mentioned it before when off the air. Mad respect to your channel. If you do not subscribe, if you're a Chiefs fan and you found this show, because you're probably not a Chiefs fan if you're watching this from my channel. If you're a Chiefs fan and you don't know who Cole is or how about those Chiefs, check out his channel because it's the gold standard for Chiefs stuff on YouTube. So, Cole, best of luck on Sunday, except for maybe we losing the football game. And we'll talk soon. I appreciate you coming on.
Heck yeah, man. I appreciate your time and just keep grinding, bro. I reached out to you because I just thought you were doing things the right way. And I respect the Eagles. If you were maybe a Raiders guy or a Bengals guy, I don't know if I would have hit you up and said, keep going.
I understand.
I appreciate it, man. Best of luck Sunday. May the best team win.
There you go. All right. We'll talk soon. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.